So, we kick things off with Hunter, a girl who clearly missed the how to be a decent friend memo in favour of a how to be a total sociopath seminar. She decides the best way to spice up a Tuesday is to scare her timid best friend, Becky, by shaking a rusted ladder while they are literally 2,000 feet in the air. Because nothing says "I love you, bestie" like simulated falling to your death, right? What Hunter's 2 remaining brain cells didn't realise, however, is that ancient metal towers aren't fans of aggressive vibration. All that unnecessary shaking loosened the very screws holding their only way down in place. Way to go, Hunter. You didn't just break the ice, you broke the structural integrity of the only thing keeping you from becoming a human pancake. Talk about a towering achievement in stupidity. Of course, instead of noticing the literal metal groaning in agony, they reach the top and immediately go into full influencer mode. We're talking pouting, posing, and probably thinking of captions like "living life on the edge, blessed," while the literal edge is about to give up on them. It's peak, doing it for the gram, even if the gram is about to become a funeral notice. Just as they finally decide they've taken enough photos to satisfy the algorithm, the ladder decides it's had enough of their nonsense. It slides down, and the screws start popping out one by one like a slow-motion nightmare, or like the buttons on a shirt after a holiday buffet. In the next second, Becky slips, because why wouldn't she? The universe loves irony, and Becky is currently its favourite punchline. She falls, and for a terrifying moment, she's just a human pendulum swinging 2,000 feet in the air. She's dangling there on a rope, swinging back and forth like a broken playground swing that nobody wants to sit on. If that rope snaps, Becky isn't just a memory. She's a localized geological event on the pavement below. Hunter, suddenly remembering she's the one who caused this mess, grabs the rope with everything she's got trying to pull Becky up, but then her own foot slips. Honestly, watching these 2 handle gravity is like watching a toddler try to carry a tray of fine crystal. It's only a matter of time before everything is downcast. The sudden jolt makes Becky scream in absolute terror, which, to be fair, is the most logical reaction anyone has had so far. Fortunately, Hunter manages to regain her balance, proving that her ego is the only thing sturdier than this tower. They start working together, one pulling, the other climbing, in a desperate game of don't die today. After a struggle that probably felt like a decade, Becky finally flops back onto the tiny platform. But before they can even catch their breath or delete those cursed photos, they look down and realize they are officially unladdered. The entire ladder has broken off and plummeted to the ground, taking their dignity with it. Now they're stuck on an abandoned TV tower with no way down, no stairs, and apparently no common sense left to spare. Hunter pulls out her phone to call for help. But surprise, surprise, there's no signal at the height of a low-flying bird. They rummage through a toolbox on the platform and find the world's most random survival kit. A pair of binoculars and a flare gun with exactly enough ammo to make them feel slightly better before they inevitably starve. It's like the universe gave them a participation trophy for survival. Then Hunter makes a discovery. The post she uploaded earlier from the ground actually got 300 likes. First of all, girl, who cares about likes when you're currently a human bird perch? That's some serious top-tier narcissism. But more importantly, it means there was signal further down. She types out a rescue message, ties her phone to a rope, and lowers it down. But the rope is too short. It's like trying to reach the remote without getting off the couch. A total pathetic failure. They never hear the whoosh of a sent message. Just the sound of their own poor choices echoing in the wind. Hunter then decides to be the brave one again, which usually means about to do something even stupider. She climbs out of the safety cage, because the cage was clearly the problem, and lowers herself down the broken remains of the ladder. She's dangling in the open air, 2,000 feet high, risking it all for 1 bar of LTE. She even lets go with one hand, trying to drop the phone just a little further, while Becky is up top, basically having a synchronized heart attack. Hunter is losing strength. Her muscles are screaming. And still, nothing. No signal. No message sent. Just a very long drop and a very disappointed best friend. Honestly, the signal isn't the only thing that's dropped lately. She has to climb back up, defeated by a cell tower that doesn't even provide cell service. Irony is a cruel mistress, isn't she? Then Becky has an idea. She figures if the ground has signal, they should just send the phone all the way down. Hunter agrees, because at this point, why not? Logic has already left the building, or in this case, the tower. She puts the phone inside her shoe, then, in a move that I'm sure made sense in her head, takes off her bra to wrap it around the phone like a DIY airbag. They toss the shoe-bra phone combo into the abyss, hoping the padding of a Victoria's Secret push-up will protect it from a 2,000-foot terminal velocity impact. They have no way of knowing if it survived, but hey, at least the phone is comfortable. Talk about a supportive friend. So they waited and waited. Hours passed, and the only thing coming to save them was a severe case of skin cancer. It turns out that dropping a smartphone from the height of a literal skyscraper, even when wrapped in a mid-range sports bra, isn't exactly a certified Apple repair technique. The phone was almost certainly pulverized into expensive glitter and silicone dust. Just when they were about to accept their new lives as professional bird watchers, Hunter spots a person at the base of the tower through the binoculars. Finally! A human who isn't a hallucination. The girls go absolutely ballistic, screaming for help like they're at a concert for a band they actually like, but can't afford front row seats for. But newsflash, ladies, sound doesn't really travel well when you're nearly half a mile in the sky and the wind is actively trying to push you off your perch. The guy below doesn't hear a single thing. In fact, he starts walking away, probably wondering why the desert wind suddenly sounds like two frantic Karens complaining to a manager about the lack of elevator service. Becky, in a desperate, think-fast moment, her first of the day, rips off her shoe and hurls it at the earth. It hits the ground hard, but the man doesn't even flinch. She throws the second one, because who needs shoes when you're stranded and about to become a permanent skeletal fixture of the landscape? And this time it hits a metal beam with a loud clang. The man actually turns around. He looks at the shoe, he picks it up, and then, in a display of situational awareness that rivals the girl's decision to climb this rust bucket in the first place, he never looks up, not once. He just shrugs, tosses the shoe aside like literal trash, and walks away. The girls are devastated. Becky grabs the flare gun, ready to go out in a blaze of glory, but Hunter stops her because it's too bright out. Apparently, they're suddenly very concerned about wasting ammo, but not particularly worried about the guy who just treated their only footwear like roadside litter. Talk about a soul-crushing disappointment. Hunter then spots an RV nearby. She assumes the man is camping and won't leave soon. A bold, baseless assumption considering he just found a random shoe falling from the heavens and didn't find it the least bit suspicious. Finally, night falls. They aim at the void and fire the flare. It's beautiful, it's bright, and it actually works. They see the man looking up through his own binoculars. Hunter and Becky are sobbing with joy, thinking the nightmare is over and they'll be back to posting high-angle selfies by breakfast. But what happens next is a plot twist that would make a horror villain blush with envy. They watch from above as the man walks toward their truck. Does he call 911? No. Does he look for a ladder? Absolutely not. He pulls out a metal rod and smashes their car window without a second thought. The girls are stomping their feet and panicking, watching a live-action Grand Theft Auto mission featuring their own vehicle. He hops in, starts the engine and peels off into the night. Their last hope didn't just leave. He literally stole their ride home and left them with a view of his receding taillights. Honestly, at this point, the tower is the most reliable thing in their lives, and it's held together by rust and prayers. Left stranded, and now officially carless, they feel more hopeless than a flip phone in 2026. All they can do is pray that the thief has a sudden attack of conscience, which is about as likely as Hunter making a smart life choice. They wait until the next morning, but no sirens appear. This is getting bad. They haven't had a drop of water in over 24 hours, and their lips are probably starting to look like sun-dried beef jerky. Hunter decides it's time for another high-risk, zero-reward maneuver. She spotted their backpack, which had conveniently snagged on a satellite dish a few levels below during the initial ladder gate chaos. Becky begs her not to go, but Hunter is on a mission to prove she can be even more reckless than previously recorded. She ties the safety rope to a pole and lowers herself down the side of the tower. Suddenly, her hand slips. She's left swinging in the breeze, 2,000 feet up, dangling by a rope that is probably as tired of her nonsense as we are. She manages to regain her cool and keeps climbing down, but she hits the end of the rope and the backpack is still out of reach. Becky is losing her mind up top, begging Hunter to come back. But Hunter has a crazier idea, and at this point, that's a very high bar to clear. She unclips her safety rope. Yes, you read that right. She is now dangling over the abyss with zero protection, holding the rope with one hand like she's auditioning for a low-budget action movie that goes straight to DVD. She tries to reach for the bag, but she's still too far. So she decides to kick off the tower wall, launching herself into a swing. She times it just right, lets go of the rope, and leaps. It's heart-stopping, but she actually lands on the metal dish. Hunter grabs the bag, pulls out a water bottle, and chugs it while Becky watches from above, swallowing her own dry spit in pure, unadulterated envy. A real dishy move, Hunter. So, Hunter has the backpack, but she's currently standing on a satellite dish like a very dehydrated, very stressed out gargoyle. Now comes the how do I get back up portion of the program, a minor detail they clearly didn't storyboard. She tries to reach the rope, but it's just out of reach, because the universe is officially done with her. Then she has a bold idea, which is usually code for something that should definitely end in a closed casket funeral. She pulls a selfie stick out of the bag. Finally, a practical use for influencer gear. She tries to hook the rope, but the backpack is heavy, and her coordination is fading faster than her social media relevance. Just when it looks like she's going to be a permanent fixture on that dish, she manages to hook the bag onto the rope loop. Hunter channels her inner Olympic athlete, if the Olympics rewarded poor planning and a total disregard for the laws of physics, and jumps. She catches it mid-air. Becky, who has spent the last 10 minutes gasping loud enough to lose oxygen to her own brain, starts pulling with every ounce of strength she has left. Hunter is moving like she's possessed, reaching the edge of the platform. But then her grip fails. Her arms give out and she starts plummeting. Becky stands there frozen, watching her best friend drop into the void. It's a tears pouring down the face moment as she leans over the edge to witness the carnage. Talk about a falling out between friends. But wait! Plot armor is a powerful thing. Hunter apparently caught the rope at the literal last second. Her hands are shredded and looking like raw hamburger meat, so Becky has to do the heavy lifting, hauling Hunter back onto the platform like she's reeling in a very traumatized, very bloody marlin. The backpack makes it up too, the holy grail containing water and a drone. Becky doesn't even say thank you before she starts chugging that water. Once they've finished their lukewarm celebration, they realize they have a drone. Becky finds a restaurant receipt and uses an eyeliner pencil to write an SOS hash note. It's easily the most glamorous rescue message in history. They clip the note to the drone, and Becky takes the controls. The drone takes off smoothly, and then the battery dies. Because of course it does. Why would these girls have a fully charged device when they don't even have a fully charged brain? But then they remember the signal light at the very top. Becky scales the tip of the needle, unscrews the cover, and, in a move that would definitely void the warranty and probably cause an electrical fire, plugs the drone charger into the tower's power source. She sits up there for 2 hours, 2,000 feet in the air, basically spooning a light bulb. Once it's at 100%, she launches the drone again. This is it. The drone crosses a road near the motel. And then, I kid you not, a truck zooms by and smashes the drone into 1,000 plastic pieces. The driver doesn't even see the note. At this point, the universe isn't just ignoring them, it's actively bullying them. Becky is sitting there sobbing, but when she turns to vent to Hunter, the vibe shifts from a survival drama to a full-on horror flick. Hunter slowly turns around, revealing a face that looks like it's been through an industrial blender. And then, the realization hits Becky like a ton of bricks. Hunter didn't actually make it back up from that satellite dish. She died during that fall. Everything we just watched, the selfie stick heroics, the hand-over-hand climbing, was all a massive sun-stroked hallucination. Becky has been up on that tower talking to a corpse and a backpack. Honestly, with zero water, it's a miracle she wasn't hallucinating a full Beyoncé concert. This plot twist is truly dead on arrival. Becky collapses, and a hungry vulture flies down to start pecking at her leg. But Becky isn't ready to be bird food. She grabs the bird by the neck, and then she eats it raw. No seasoning, no napkins, just pure I want to live energy. With the strength of a raw bird in her system, she goes for one last gruesome plan. She slides down to where Hunter's body is resting. She types a text to her dad, but still no signal. So she does the unthinkable. She takes off Hunter's shoe, shoves the phone inside it, and then stuffs that shoe into the open wound in Hunter's stomach. It's disgusting. It's highly judgmental, glance-worthy, but it's practical. She gives the body one final push, sending it plummeting to the ground. The logic? The cushioning of the body would protect the phone, and once it hit the ground, it would finally find a signal. And believe it or not, this twisted plan actually works. Her dad gets the text, the cavalry arrives, and the movie ends with Becky being lowered to the ground. She survived the height, the hunger, the vultures, and the trauma of being her own best friend for 24 hours. Let's just hope she never goes near a ladder again, or a selfie stick for that matter. She's finally grounded in more ways than one.